All right, you're listening to Lore Friendly, the show about history, lore, and video games. I'm Chris Takahashi, and with me is the Dame, the Doctor, Professor Alice Bell. Say hello, Alice.
Hi, guys.
If you can't tell, Alice is very British.
Very
Yes.
English.
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 Is that how
There's
you
a
prefer to be
big
called?
distinction.
Oh, what's the distinction?
Well, Britain is like the whole of the British Isles, and that includes like Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland, and English is the best part of it. So, you know.
Well, see, that's why I have this British dictionary with me. So, in case we get into an argy-bargy, and I get my argy-bargy, I'm sorry, an argy-bargy, and I get my John Thomas stuck in a pennywinky, then, then, you'll know what I'm saying.
You're John Thomas stuck in a pennywinky, what?
It's like some medieval torture device, a pennywinky.
That sounds amazing. I don't know whether I want to Google it or not.
It's something like I learned from John Oliver. Supposedly, they put people's thumbs into this like spiked device, and basically, it's kind of like an Iron Maiden for the thumb. But,
See, I've just Googled that, and I'm just getting pictures of snail shells. So I don't think I'm spelling it right.
Yeah, I have no idea what the exact spelling is, but apparently it is something that exists. See, I'm more English than you are, Alice. I'm teaching you about your culture. How about that?
I just think a pennywinky sounds like the funniest thing. Cause some slang for, like, what you call your willy.
I thought that's what a John Thomas was.
Yeah, but what you can also call your willy a winky. Like when you're talking to little kids. So,
oh, God.
Yeah.
But see,
penises
we just call
inside penises.
Right, we just call it like a cock, dick,
But would
meat
you call
pole.
Would you call it a cock or a dick or a meat pole to like a bunch of little kids? Or
No,
would you
then
just say, "Do you want to get your winky out and have a wee?" I'm never going to go into primary school teaching. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think if you said that to a child, you'd probably get arrested pretty quick and with good reason. So, I called you a doctor, but you're not a doctor yet. Technically, you're studying.
I'm a first-year English student who might one day become a doctor.
But you really want the title, is from what I gathered from the last time we talked.
Because it's just like an automatic sign of prestige. You can go up to people and like pretend that you're an authority figure because you've got doctor in front of your name.
Right.
When really it's just a doctor of reading a bit of Shakespeare.
Exactly, but it can also cause confusion, don't you think? Like, say you're in a plane, and somebody collapses, and the stewardess is like, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" And then you raise your hand and you say, "I'm a doctor."
Yo!
Of English.
English.
Yeah, exactly. So don't you think it'd be a little bit problematic at times? Like you go, "Oh, you're a doctor. Look at here, here's a doctor." And then, you have to say, "Well, of English." You kind of have to...
But I'm still a doctor. You've got to be more specific,
Yeah, but don't you think you're kind of raising the bar a little bit too high? And then the expectations kind of come crashing down. They're like, "Oh!" And then, "Oh. Right.
Okay.
Doctor of
Right,
English."
Fine.
Yeah, that's great. What did you study? Like Batman. So that's not something that people know, that you're studying Batman, right?
Oh yeah, that's why we've got Batman as the. Are we calling him a splash screen?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I have no idea.
That's why we have Batman on a splash screen,
it's
because I get to study Batman.
Yes, exactly. Well, splash screen is more American. I guess you would call it like a splibbity splobbity or whatever.
A spibbity spobbity.
Yes, that's what they call it in English. In English, we have to distinguish the two languages, American and English.
I'm pretty sure there is an actual like word for it that I learnt this year in English, but it was in the 2 weeks before my exams, and everything that I did then has just vanished.
You were too busy studying.
So there is a word for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was too busy studying.
Yeah, studying 20th century fake vigilantes.
I'm not studying 20th century fake vigilantes yet.
But it's something.
That's next year.
That's a higher level course.
Yeah, that's a high level course.
That's only like Rhodes scholars are allowed to study that. There's like tomes and everything.
Now, this year I got to study Dr. Faustus, in which half the play spends its time detailing Dr. Faustus stealing some food off of the Pope's plate and slapping him.
See?
If I remember correctly.
See, that's the kind of stuff that a real doctor would know. And that's why you're studying it.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why I'm Dr. Alice.
Exactly, and that's why this show is focused on history, lore, and stuff like that in video games. Because you are an authority, technically. According to my standards, at least.
In the future.
Yes, in the future. So that's pretty much what we're going to be covering. You've also done roles for the mod, like Fiona.
Yes.
Glathriel.
I love Fiona.
And most recently the Baroness.
How do you say it? Glathriel?
Yes, I say it Glathriel. I don't even know.
I say Glathriel.
That's probably better. That's probably correct. See?
It's probably because I've watched Lord of the Rings too many times, and they all have the EL ending.
Yeah, some of the people on the forums asked me how I pronounce like all these names. I'm like, I don't know. I just
make them up.
Just make them up. I mean, some of them are really like phonetic disasters. Like there's one that Ilgyne, which is pronounced which is spelled Ylgyne.
Ilgyne?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that?
Yeah, but it's just, like, someone was pronouncing it Yelgin, or, yeah. it was pretty bad.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at people's misfortune, but I'm laughing at people's misfortune.
Yeah,
sorry.
Don't do that. We need to be nice.
I'm really mean, I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, so, let's go to our first topic. What are your favorite history-based games?
Well, I hope you know that I am going to be playing Fast and Loose if this becomes a repeated segment.
No, this is a one-time segment.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to choose BioShock Infinite, which is 100% historically accurate.
It is. We like historical accuracy on this show.
Yeah. No, I just think, like, the time period that it sets itself in and the atmosphere it manages to create. I mean, I was like grinning from ear to ear when I heard the Barbershop Quartet style cover of God Only Knows, and I hate the Beach Boys, but I love that cover.
Yes.
I thought it was amazing.
I would much rather listen to the cover than the actual original Beach Boys song.
I honestly hate the Beach Boys. They just annoy me.
Do you have like a dartboard where you just...
No, I just go away inside every time they come on and weep for humanity.
Oh, yeah. Like me, I just do like Arya Stark, where I'll just like name their names, like before I go to sleep. Just fucking Beach Boys. I actually don't know their names. It would help if I could remember their names.
Yeah.
But yeah. There goes that.
Yeah, that's a bad list you've got.
Yeah. Something Love. Mike Love, I think is one of them. Yeah, you're like...
I'm going away inside. I'm doing a Sansa, I'm going away.
The only reason I know this is because I think his nephew is a famous basketball player or something like that. Well, Kevin Love, I think, is remotely... You're not even close to interested in this, so I'm just gonna stop
I just think that Love's a hilarious last name.
Yeah. Well, because it's better than Hate, but, you know.
Well, yeah. That'd be a great last name. Alice Hate.
Why don't you like the last name Love?
It just sounds soppy. Like, what if you were a really nasty, vile person and your name was Love? It sounds like a comic book character.
I just think you're biased against people with beachfront property. That's pretty much how I feel. No, but all joking aside, so you don't really care about historical accuracy is what you're saying. You like the aesthetic of history.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic in BioShock Infinite, and I love the atmosphere. It just made you feel like you were in that period of time.
Right.
Because whilst I think that Colombia as a place was a bit further back, like fashion-wise and things like that, than like real-life America, in some ways it was like incredibly progressive, because like women didn't get the vote until 1920 in America. Because I googled this last night.
Okay.
And but in BioShock Infinite, there's like, you're killing men and women equally. They're all, like, in the armed forces and stuff. It's great. Equality! Woo!
Woo! And that's what we're for. We're for progressiveness. Yeah. Well, like I said, I told you before, like, I'm not a social justice warrior, because like I'm a coward, but I'm definitely a social justice, janitor or file clerk. Like I'll be there for you to like do the manual labor and like the desk jockey stuff. I'm just too much of a coward to go out and fight. Yeah.
I just believe that we should be able to kill men and women equally in
yes.
video games.
Exactly. And also, I mean, it's just important to have the choice, you know? Don't force me to kill just men.
Yeah, I want to kill women too.
Yeah, exactly. Give me the option, you know? Gameplay is more important than story sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of BioShock Infinite for its gameplay, but I'm in love with the storyline. Right.
It depends. Like I think for the mod, like if we could be serious for a second, I think like when I try to decide who's a marriage candidate, or what the sexual identity is for an NPC, with some NPCs, I just make them bisexual because the sexual identity is more or less irrelevant. So gameplay takes precedence there. And in other cases, it's the sexual identity is really important to the character. Like with Reigns, like he has a lot of testosterone. I can't see him being in love with a woman. So he's gay. So, I mean, it depends on whether that aspect is important. Like, the story is so important that it has to be a certain way, then you go that way. Yeah. If the story's not that important, then give the players more choices.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, historical accuracy is important, but at the same time, feelings and emotions and whether you capture that time period is what you're saying basically, right? To go back to BioShock Infinite. That's something like, I think Maya Angelou said, no one's gonna remember her words, but they're gonna remember the sort of emotions that she, like, stirred in people, right?
Yeah.
So that's what BioShock Infinite did to you, huh?
Cry every time.
It is a pretty good story, I think, and a good aesthetic.
It's heavy. I played it first, by myself, and I played it a second time with my younger sister. Age limits. But, it got to the part where, you're going through the, spoiler alert by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're going through the asylum.
Though, so you should be alright.
Yeah. Where you're going through the asylum in the future, and, you just see elderly Elizabeth, and I was like, oh my god, Elizabeth, what's happened to you? I'm so sorry. And then, like, the whole ending sequence happened, and so I was crying through the credits. I finally managed to calm down, and then you just hear this little, what do you call them? Mobiles. Little baby mobiles going around. And I was like, and then Booker's like, Elizabeth? No, Anna? And I just started crying again because I thought they finally got a happy ending. And then fucking Burial at Sea comes out and it's not happy and everyone's dead and
Oh, that ending is actually really good. You know, but first time I played through it, I actually missed it because I pressed the skip credits button. And this is like a pet peeve of mine because, like, I always hit the skip credits button and it always ends up like skipping something at the end. And I don't understand why they do that. Why not just skip the credits and then take me to that last final scene where he opens the door and the baby's there? It's just like...
Does that mean that you missed the two voice actors doing their little jam set?
I missed everything after the credits. If you hit the skip credits button, like if you don't have the patience to sit through that whole thing, it's done. It goes back to the start menu.
See, I learned patience from the master. I've sat and watched all the Metal Gear Solid credits. Okay. So it's a good 20 minutes of credits sometimes.
Oh my god.
We pass the time by counting how many times Hideo Kojima comes up.
It's like
I think one
director, writer, producer,
coffee maker,
janitor,
ideas,
visionary.
Hideo Kojima presents Hideo
It's just
Kojima.
him masturbating all over the screen, basically, is what it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate what he's done for gaming.
But you could do with a little less...
You don't need that many credits!
You could do with a little less, self-service there, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as historical accuracy, I think it's definitely not important in games where, like, you capture that feeling. There are some kind of instances where it gets a little confusing. I think if you're just not aware of the history.
Yeah.
Like Civ, if you ever play Civ and then Gandhi, man, it's like, oh, dude, it's Gandhi. He's like a peace-loving beatnik. Like, hey, what's up, Gandhi? He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you know. I'm gonna invade your land and kill all your children. It's just horrible. It's like, Gandhi, what are you doing?
In contrast, Genghis Khan is an absolutely lovely fellow. He was my friend all the way through my first game that I had with him, whilst everyone else was turning on me. I was like, well, fuck you guys.
It's like
Switzerland turned on me.
Everything history taught me was a lie. It's just wrong when Gandhi turns on you. I mean, there's part of it that's kind of funny too, though. I mean, if they made a game where America was like run by Martin Luther King, and then Italy was Mother Teresa, and then Gandhi, and they're all like, horrible, violent despots. And they're just like starting all this shit with you. It would be kind of funny in an ironic sense that way. Like, I have a dream, and in it you're all dead. But most of the leaders are more or less
dicks.
Yeah,
they're all dicks. But yeah, there's Maria Theresa. I think she was part of the Habsburg family. Okay. And then you've got like Mother Teresa. I don't know where she comes from.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got, like, basically most of the female leaders that you've got in the game weren't warriors, or weren't known for their, like, prowess in battle or whatever.
Their aggressive military positions.
Yeah. Although Queen Elizabeth was quite cool. I have to say that it's part of my contract of being an English person. So, like, I have to say that...
You can't shit talk. Yeah, you can't
best.
shit talk the Queen.
No. Can't shit talk either of the Lizards. Okay.
Not like us Americans. We just talk shit all the time. Throw tea into the ocean. It's just what we do.
Stop throwing our tea away. It's a valuable commodity.
Yeah. The funny thing is that would actually make more sense in terms of celebrations on the 4th, but instead we just blow shit up. I mean, we just like get our fireworks and just like have explosions all day. So I don't know if that.
In fairness, blowing stuff up and having barbecues and whatever is like the best way to celebrate anything.
Yeah, that is true.
I would happily just blow shit up on Christmas. Rather than like celebrating peace and love and joy.
Oh, is that what you do on Christmas?
We open up presents and eat lots of food.
Oh, yeah.
And watch Doctor Who. Great British tradition.
Okay, so next thing we should talk about is game of the month. This is gonna be an ongoing segment where we basically talk about one game that that has some sort of historical implications, but not really. I mean, come on. So
it's very loosely historically
right.
based.
So the first game we decided to go over is Papers, Please. Glory to Arstotska.
Because it's cheap.
Yes. I can't even... How's my Russian accent?
I don't know, because I'm really bad at Russian accents. It sounds a bit like, the Count. One glory to Arstotska.
Glory to Arstotska.
Arstotska,
Give me more vodka. Okay, so... That game,
dear.
if you haven't played it, it's based... You're basically a border agent in this kind of pseudo Soviet Union country. And what are your thoughts basically on that game?
It is so depressing.
Yeah, it is.
It's just so bleak. Like, I didn't think that I'd be able to get an emotional response from like a really pixely game like that. I'm describing it so terribly. But you've got all this, like, intrigue with the hooded guy who comes up to you and he's like, ooh, find this guy, let him through and we'll help you out.
He offers you money, too, if you don't let the guy through.
Yeah, he offers you money, and he's just like, we can help you out, we can sort things out. And I fucked up majorly on my first playthrough, because I thought that I was doing all the tasks, but I missed a couple of things. And so it gets to the end of the game, which is like the end of your trial period as a Border Patrol agent or whatever, and they review everything you've done, and they find that you've got associations to this terrorist group, and so you get executed, your family get deported, and I have never, like, face-palmed so hard at myself, because I'm so bad at games.
Why did you help them? The terrorist organization, did you not like Arstotska?
Because my family was starving. I couldn't provide for them because I'm just so bad at the game that I was losing all my money.
This is something I want to talk about, and it's definitely my one criticism of the game. But first, I do want to say, like, it's a brilliant game. I think it's well conceived, well made, especially with the resources the guy had. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. On an artistic level, like, it really captures how it feels. I don't know if it's supposed to be the Soviet history or if it's supposed to be like a TSA agent, like the modern kind of a culture we have at airports.
Judging by like what everyone was wearing and stuff like that, it could easily be placed in the Soviet Union. But then it could be like a Crucible style thing where it's using past events to criticize current affairs.
Right.
Thing.
Yeah, I definitely got that kind of feel. I'm not aware of the history, but I definitely got that kind of feel to it, like that it's relevant, it's pertinent to today's issues. And there's that whole thing where it's kind of funny in a weird way when they keep giving you more things you have to check, and the bureaucracy just gets out of control, and you're just like, oh my god, it's ridiculous, because this is how probably Soviet bureaucracy worked. I mean, it was probably really, really ridiculous. You have to check this and check that and check the seal and the passport number. And there's also moments where in between that, like, deliberate tediousness, where you generally feel like emotionally attached to the people who are trying to cross the border, and you have to make decisions like, do I let this woman, into the country to see her child? Is she lying to me? Is she, like, her passport doesn't match up, right? So you're like, you have to kind of make all these decisions and stuff like that. So it's really, I think it's really well done from an artistic standpoint. From a gameplay standpoint, there are times where I feel like it does get a little bit too much like I know what it feels like to work a shitty job. I don't need to, spend another hour doing this shitty ass job. But every time I feel like that, then there's another moment where it's like, oh wow, this is really cool, right?
I felt that it was like, I don't know. It was just, I didn't have enough room on my desk for everything. Because you've got the rule book, and you've got to flick through the rule book to find discrepancies, and then you've got to lay out all the paperwork, and at some point you'd end up with, like, passport, work permits, certificates of identification, and you just didn't have enough room to check everything. And it's getting to the point where it was like, this is impossible. How are you meant to do this?
Yeah, but that's, like, it's both frustrating, but at the same time, it's also like, oh my god, this is exactly what bureaucracy is like. Like, that's the joke,
it's so stringent.
Yeah. And so I guess it gets to that argument of whether, are games supposed to entertain you or they're supposed to enlighten you? Does it matter if it's one and not the other? But I do think it's just from a purely artistic standpoint, it's something that's like you should definitely play.
Definitely, yeah. I'm part of the group that thinks that, like, games are art. That's why I'm such a fan of, like, decent storylines and things like that, because it's another medium for storytelling. And I think this is one of, like, the best games that I've ever played for, like, that can be applied as, like, a social criticism, like, of our times. God, that sounds so pretentious.
Yeah. But here's my one critique. And it's something I felt right at the beginning. Over time when I played it, I learned to, like, really love the game. But my one critique is the family. Like, I didn't feel any emotional connection to them at all. Like, it's just a line of text. It says, like, son, mother, or uncle-in-law, whatever. And for me, like, I just wish they would have let me name the boy.
Yeah.
Or let me be there for his birth.
Or randomly generate a name for the wife so you don't just call her wife.
Right. Give me a picture of her, or give me a picture of them all. You know, just give me some kind of emotional connection, because I feel like that one thing kind of undercuts a lot of both the art and the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't conflicted about trying to save, cause I know you said you wanted to, like, save your family because they're starving or whatever.
My son drew me a picture. He drew me a picture that I could put up, but I didn't know how to put it up.
See, that is an emotional connection right there. But I didn't get that on my playthroughs. For me, it was more like, I have a son. It's like, your son is sick. Your son is sick and needs medicine. I'm like, okay, son, what? Uncle? Mother-in-law? And so there was never that connection for me. And maybe that was my failure not to play enough of the game to find those points. But I feel like when the choice, because part of the emotional choice that you have to make is between helping your family and helping the immigrants, right? Yeah. And for me, it was never a question of, do I help my family? Because I didn't give a shit about them. I was like, food, you don't need that shit. Like, who cares?
Just wear blankets, you'll be fine.
Yeah. It's just a line of text. And so I was just like, basically I was always taking the immigrant side on that. Like, when the cult guy bribed me, like 1,000 gold the first time, 2,000 second, I was like, I don't need this money. What am I going to use the money for? Feed this line of text that I don't care about? So I just burned the trash because I was like, you know what? Also, I was, fearful of Arstotska and communist state and all that. I pretty much figured that there would be some consequences, but, I didn't know what. But, basically that kind of altered both the emotional aspect and the way I played the game, I felt.
Yeah.
I just wish they would make a little bit more effort to create that emotional connection. But other than that, I mean, that's just like a minor quibble for me. It was basically a brilliant game, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty intense.
Right. And just judging by your experience, it seems like the criticism I had didn't apply to everybody because, I mean, you definitely connected with your family, right?
I'm very over-emotional, though. I get overly attached to anything.
So if it says wife, you're like, oh, wife.
Wife is ill! No! Don't worry, I'll make you better like I promised. In my vows.
Yeah, see, I think maybe it could just be I don't have enough imagination, but there should also be, I think, some effort to kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was definitely...
Maybe they can plan this in for the sequel.
Exactly. I do think it's a minor adjustment that can be made.
Yeah.
And once that's done, then it's pretty much perfect. But I think we both give it thumbs up. I don't know if we're gonna do a Siskel and Ebert thing, but...
A what?
That's an American phrase, I guess.
Well, I don't have my American to actual proper English dictionary with me, so...
There's this cliche about, because there's these two critics in America, they basically give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to movies they like.
Right.
And it's a really reductive way of criticizing a movie, but it's sort of a cliche. 2 thumbs up, and then, or...
See, I like, is it Conan? Conan O'Brien, like, Clueless Gamer. I like his rating system. It's just all over the place, It's great.
Yeah, he doesn't actually play games, though, so it's just...
It's funny, though.
Like yeah, it is funny.
I mean, his playing of GTA 5 was pretty hilarious.
Okay, so last topic. Questions from the audience. Now, this is our first show that nobody really knows about, so, but we already have an audience. Isn't that amazing, Alice?
Air quotes.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
I know, and it's so far-reaching as well.
Yes. Look, our first question is from Dave in Madagascar. That's how broad our audience is.
Hi,
we have
Dave.
fans in Madagascar. Yeah. Oh, totally real person here.
Yeah.
Real person, flesh and bone. Dave in Madagascar writes, Dear Dr. Alice, I am planning on role-playing as a gay Nord man who has multiple partners, and I am wondering how a harem lifestyle would be perceived by my fellow Nords. I've been told Vikings are far more progressive than other medieval cultures. So, what were the Viking views on homosexuality and polygamy? Will pursuing such a lifestyle prevent me from going to Sovngarde? Ooh, big questions, Dave.
It is, because I've got a lot of notes on this.
Okay. So first question is basically he wants to have a harem lifestyle. He wants to date a lot. He's probably using one of those multiple marriage mods. I think there's a polygamy mod out there.
There's probably many, yeah.
Yeah. So he wants to marry both, like, let's say Zora and Alasia. Is
even
this
though he's
okay?
Gay.
Right. Oh, that's right. He's a gay Nord man.
Come up with some more names.
Rains and Jasper. Those are two gay characters in the mod.
Okay. Well, married men in Norse cultures would often keep thralls as like concubines and sex slaves and things or whatever. And thralls were only slightly better off than actual slaves, like, you know, the thralls in Game of Thrones from the Iron Islands and things. It's basically like that. Like, they're born into servitude, but their children aren't necessarily born into servitude.
Okay, so they can ascend to the throne?
No, they can't, because they'd be born to his thralls and, like, his extra partners. They won't be able to...
So they're like bastards, right?
Basically.
Yeah, okay. Like Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Although Jon Snow's not really a bastard, I mean, if you think about it.
R plus L equals J.
Exactly. But let's not spoil that.
Sauce, guys.
So, what we were saying.
But, basically, people didn't tend to care if someone had, like, multiple relationships as long as they kept the basic family unit, so they kept on having children with their wife, the one who they were married with, so that they'd have children who could inherit and work the land. Because that was the main function, because children would, like, look after you and they'd, like, form alliances and things like that.
So, would these people, what roles do thralls have? Were they fighting? Like, were they warriors? Were they just wives?
They were more like servants. There's a Horrible Histories sketch that I watched. Okay. Horrible Histories is a kids program that is actually the best thing to come out of Britain since everything. And like thralls would be in the service of a certain family who was of a higher class than them. Basically, like the lowest rung in society, and there was no real chance of them climbing socially.
No, that's depressing.
Well, yeah, but it happens.
So for Dave would have to choose a husband, and basically his other spouses would be thralls.
He'd have to choose a wife if he didn't want to upset the society.
Ah, that's our second question.
Yes.
What were the Viking views on homosexuality?
Well, as I've already mentioned, the primary role of people in a Norse community was to reproduce so that children could work the land, they could look after you as you got older, and in the case of the upper classes, they'd be used to, like, form alliances with other families or other kingdoms, or they'd be used to, like, especially when Christianity came along, they'd be used to, like, curry favour with God, so they'd, like, send sons and daughters into the church. An example that I've got here is St. Hild of Whitby. She went off to found a monastery from, I think she was Northumbrian, but I'm not quite sure on that, but she basically founded Whitby Monastery. And
right. So there's it's important to have children, and there's some utility to marriage.
Yeah.
But, can you have other, male thralls?
Well, as long as it didn't upset the basic family balance, they wouldn't have much to say about it, because, those who actively avoided going into marriage were called fúthflógi, which means he who flees the female sex organ, which is just the funniest, like, image ever. You've just got this big, bouncing vagina chasing after someone.
Oh, God.
I know. And flanfluga, she who flees from the male sex organ, so you've got a penis joining in that chase, just bouncing along on its ballsack. Lovely image there.
Yeah. Balls are like the worst part of the anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think vaginas are worse than balls.
Really? Well,
they're just really gross.
Well, some vaginas were like the lips are less large. They mostly cover all the bad stuff.
Well, yeah.
Like the balls are just there.
Can't do anything
they're just
about
hanging
them.
out. Yeah, they're hairy and shit. And it's just like, oh god. Yeah. Yeah, you can't avoid the balls. But so to answer your question, Dave,
Wait,
you
there's
can
more.
marry.
There's more.
Yeah.
There's more notes.
You can marry a woman. You can marry a woman. Unfortunately, even if you're a gay man, you must marry a woman. But you can have plenty of male thralls.
Yes.
And you can still hold your position in the community. Basically, it's kind of sad though for life, huh?
You can be, if you are impotent or unable to father children for whatever reason, then homosexual relations were more, like, accepted. And as long as you're in the giving position rather than the receiving position, because receiving's a feminine role.
Gotcha. So, Dave, just be a top and tell people that you're impotent. And you'll be okay. You'll get in the Sovngarde. You'll be right at the front of the line. Okay, so our second question is from Johnny in Lubbock, Texas. Totally real guy. Living in Lubbock. Real town.
Try and do the accent.
Fuck no. Okay, alright, I'm gonna try it, but this is gonna be so bad. Dr. Alice, I'm a huge fan of your podcast, and I make sure to listen every month. I was wondering if you've ever played Red Dead Redemption or any cowboy games, or if you just hate America. So do you, Alice? Do you hate America?
Can you repeat the question? No.
Oh, no.
I've got it.
No, we will not be repeating that ever again. That was just a one-time thing.
Well,
and I'm gonna edit that out.
No, don't.
No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna leave it.
No.
So Alice, do you hate America, or do you play cowboy games? Is that a part of history
if there is one genre that I will never get into, it's the Western genre. Like, my experience with the Western genre is Woody from Toy Story. And a shitty vampire film that I watched at my sister's.
Do tell. No, I don't want to hear about the vampire film. Why do you hate Western?
It's just
Westerns.
It just strikes me as being just so dull and boring, and I associate it with old men.
Really?
Yeah.
Because old men watch Westerns, or old men...
Because old men watch Westerns and performed in Westerns. Because they're old now. And it just...
That's true. But they weren't old then.
Well, yeah. But it's just...
You just hate America.
Yeah, I hate America. I've said it. Yeah. You darn Americans and your ridiculous Western genre. I can't be dealing with it.
Yeah. You're let me look at my dictionary. It doesn't even have a definition, but I'm gonna call you this. You're a char lady.
A what? Google.
Know. I just picked it at random. It doesn't have a definition. Or how about this? You're just a chin wagon chimney pot. How about that?
Right, you've called me a house cleaner with charwoman. I'm a house cleaner. Wow,
you're a
sick bird.
You're a jerkin.
A jerkin's like trousers, isn't it? Are you just like flicking to pages on? Yeah, a jerkin's like what Jon Snow wears.
I don't even know what these words mean.
I don't mind being a jerkin if it means that I'm on top of Jon Snow. Woo!
Oh. He's how tall is he? He doesn't. I always see these like pictures on all the horrible sites that I go to, where he's like depicted as this midget. But
I'm googling. He's 1.73, so he's tall enough for me.
I don't even know what that means.
Kit Harington, if you're watching.
No, I mean like I think that's how Hollywood is, though, isn't it? More or less, like the way the camera is positioned. You have to be a certain height, and I think that like 5'7", 5 to 5'9", like the short guys, like fit that like they're.
He might be wearing heels.
But if you think about like how tall women are, right, and men are, and you want to get them both on the same shot, like camera wise, I think that's why men actors in general are shorter. It's just like if you're too tall, it just looks weird.
Sophie Turner, the girl who plays Sansa Stark, she's taller than Kit Harington.
Oh.
That's great. Oh, Sophie Turner. Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, she's representing for the tall people.
Well, I'm representing for the short people.
Well, 5'3" isn't really short though for like a woman, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the average is like 5'5", 5'6".
In what country? What country is this? The country of the Amazons? 5'5", 5'6". Aren't models like 5'8"?
Yeah, most like fashion models are 5'8", but I think like the average height for a woman in the UK is 5'5", 5'6".
Okay, so
it's 2 inches, but it makes a lot of difference.
True. It does.
I'm looking through a googly Google. Oh no, okay. No, the average woman in England is 5'3" and 11 stones.
Yeah, there you go.
Everyone I know must just be really tall then. I'm just the midget in the group. I'm the Tyrion Lannister of the group. Handsome and witty.
But yeah, Tyrion Lannister's the best.
Well, not in the books, he's... Well, I don't know. I'm a Sansa Stark fangirl. She's my baby.
Okay. Yeah, she's gone through some shit, Sansa Stark.
Everyone hates her because she wanted to be queen, and that was like the greatest aspiration that any woman could hope to be in that time period. Like, can you blame her for wanting to be queen?
Yeah, well, I think she's kind of pigeonholed in that, like, princess mold where Arya gets all the cool attributes, where she's like, you know, slitting people's throats and doing all this gangster shit. And so it's like, it's easy to like Arya. It's harder.
Yeah, Arya's the cool stuff.
Right. It's harder to appreciate Sansa because there's that level of just like, oh, it's misogyny or whatever. She's playing into this role. But I do think that's deliberate in that eventually, I mean, the way her like character path is going, that she's gonna be more like Littlefinger and like she's learning how to play the game.
No. I don't want her to get Littlefingered.
Yeah, but oh, no. Yeah. Oh, that might happen too. But, I think she's becoming more of the Cersei Lannister type, where she's getting a little bit...
Cersei Lannister's stupid.
Yeah. But
she's so stupid. Sansa handles her role a lot better than Cersei ever did.
Right. But Cersei...
I think she's gonna be more Marjorie. I think she's gonna be a lot more like Marjorie.
Yeah. But that was my overall point. Like, Cersei and Marjorie are the types who play the game. They pretend to be the doting wife, but they don't really believe in it.
I don't think Cersei ever pretended.
Yeah, that's true. But, before...
Were we ever happy, Robert?
Right. Before, Sansa was more of that innocent, naive type, and I think that rubs people the wrong way. I mean, what do you expect? She's a kid, right?
Yeah, what is she, like... Oh,
in the books, she's much
30,
younger than...
I think she's either like 12 or 13 in the books when the books start.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of creepy for her to get Littlefingered, because in the books she's a lot younger. Yeah, he's so...
I hate Little... Like, in fairness, everyone's been aged up for the TV show.
Right.
Like, Littlefinger's only, well, I say only, but he's 27 or 28 or something in the books. Ned's only 35, Kat's 35, Cersei's 33.
Yeah.
Jamie's 33.
Reality.
Everyone's been aged down a bit.
Reality of casting. I mean, the better actors are going to be older, just have more experience.
Well, if they've had to age the kids up because some of the stuff that the kids do wouldn't translate well to screen unless they were a bit older.
Right, but they could have closed the age gap with the adults by making them younger, but obviously I think it just fits the tone of the series better if they're older and grittier and grayer. It
just suits a bit better.
So we've established, one of the things I was going to ask you, we've established that you hate America. But what about what about the Far East? Cowboy genre is very similar to the samurai genre.
Well, I can like buy Mark of the Ninja and what is it, Shadow Warriors and stuff like that. I do want to try Mark of the Ninja, but I think that the internet has ruined ninjas for me.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
No one's ruined cowboys for me, but ninjas have been ruined by the internet.
What about samurais and like people wielding swords. It's a little kind of similar to Cowboys, so I imagine you wouldn't like it. That would be my guess.
I'm not sure. I found the Quasian, like, in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, they've got like Asian vampires, and the Quasian section of that game is really interesting. So I could find a way into it. I could find a way to enjoy it. It's just finding something that I can, like, get into.
What about Kurosawa? Have you watched any of those films?
No.
Okay, that's gonna be your homework. Well, you don't have to actually do it, but you're gonna watch...
If it's on Netflix...
you're gonna watch
I'll steal my friend's account.
You're gonna watch Yojimbo. That's a great movie.
Yojimbo.
Yojimbo. Hey, Jimbo!
That sounds great.
Although I don't know any people named Jimbo.
Jimbo can be used as slang for James. Because, like, well... Jimmy,
yes.
James.
Yes, I'm aware of the
Jimbo,
etymology.
they're both the same.
It's not a huge leap from Jimbo to James, Alice. Give me some credit.
It is.
Give me some credit.
Is. I can't give you credit. You're American.
That's true. American.
America. Huh.
You're gonna need to start liking westerns, Alice. You're gonna need to start liking.
Or is this guy gonna come back next time?
Johnny already hates you, I think.
Well, so's Johnny.
Yeah,
but my superior Englishness.
We might bring Johnny on as a guest, actually. You're gonna really like that.
You've got to do the voice, though.
Yeah.
You've got to do the voice.
Well, that's the only way we can communicate, me
yeah.
and Johnny. Just in future, if I like start modding Fallout, and I need an American accent lady, you know, I'm gonna come to you.
I did do an American accent to Duck at one point. Because that was the first thing that I sent you.
That's not the same thing.
I sent you...
That is not the same thing.
No, that was the first thing I sent you. I'd done that motion comic and I was like, I've got a really crappy microphone at the minute, but this is what I can do. And it is the worst American accent I have ever heard.
Yeah, that wasn't the smartest decision in retrospect. To send me an audition of a duck.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I could send him this stirring rendition of Romeo and Juliet, but no, I'll just go with the duck.
She was a very serious duck, though.
She was a duck still. She had feathers. She literally had feathers, Alice.
Yeah, she literally had feathers, and she almost had boobs as well. Oh. Like, I don't know what I was voicing.
I need to watch this duck again. Boobs, you said? No, I'm just... So, that is gonna be... That could be a possibility, so just fair warning, Alice. I might come to you. I'm gonna say,
I'll work on it. I used to do really good work, because I used to be absolutely obsessed with the show Lost.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to pretend that I was Kate.
Did you?
So I used to work on her accent.
You? Oh.
It didn't go very well. I'll practice. I managed to get Desmond done.
Oh.
I was really good at Desmond's accent.
Oh, Penny!
Penny!
Oh god.
Not Penny's butt.
I like Desmond. How could you not like Desmond?
Desmond was lovely.
Yeah.
I honestly loved Desmond. He was the best character.
Yes, he was.
Or is it beep, beep,
yeah.
beep, beep?
Sounds like somebody's backing up. That's the end of our show. We've covered all the topics. We've gotten questions from the audience.
Audience.
If you want, yes, from the adoring fans, from the throngs and throngs
of people who were just
fans.
Waiting for this podcast to come out.
Yes, they had to stand in line. We actually had to have a real life Papers, Please moment.
Yeah. It was really bad because we're both really bad at like paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, and there's just people just fighting to get to the front to submit their questions.
And like someone got past and they threw a bomb.
Yeah,
and it was chaos.
Body parts flying. Oh god. So to prevent this kind of catastrophe, in the future, please place your questions in either the YouTube comments or send them to me, myself, or Alice. Do it on the forums on the blog site. And if you do not send your questions, we're just gonna have to do what we did last time and open it up to the masses.
Bring back Dave from Madagascar.
And... Dave from Madagascar and Johnny from Lubbock. Yeah. They're the ones who survived in the post-apocalyptic nightmare that was...
And that was only because Johnny was waving his gun around like, yeehaw!
Yeah.
Get out of my way, you maggots!
Like that. Yeah. Oh. So, submit your questions and we'll read them on the next show. And make sure they're sort of about history, because apparently that's what this show is about.
Technically.
It's about, yeah.
Technically
about lore, history, and Batman. So, I guess that's all we need to say.
Bye, guys! Right. Bye!
Oh, let me say something British at the end. How do I say bye in English?
Fuck off.
Okay, fuck off, all you shabs.
You sound like Spike from Buffy. Fuck off.
Alright, talk to you next month, governor.
This is Viridian, and you're watching the 3D NPC Podcast Network. You may recognize my voice from my previous work, How to Subscribe to a Podcast. It's real easy. You just press a button. If you like the podcast, then congratulations, you have an excellent taste. Press the subscribe button to confirm. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you didn't, it's likely you just need to turn the volume higher. Click on any of the boxes to watch another video. Go on, don't be shy. I'll wait here while you click them. Every time someone subscribes, an angel gets their wings. But only the ones you like. Don't worry, there is a system in place. I'm not even getting paid to do this. But if we get enough subscribers, Kris has promised me a coupon for KFC. So please subscribe. I'm so hungry. Subscribe. You might regret it in the morning, but we promise you won't get pregnant. If you like this podcast, we have other shows. They also have people talking about stuff. Subscribe, and maybe they'll make the total number of subscribers public. Right now it's just too embarrassing to show anyone. This channel has a very American theme, so why did they get a Polish guy to narrate? 2 words. Fun service. One lucky subscriber will get an autographed picture from me. The picture will be of Gabe Newell, but it will have my name on it. Did you hear about what happened to the last person who didn't subscribe? Nothing happened actually. But is that what she wants? Nothing. I bet she wants something to happen to you. And it will, if you press the button.
Obviously, I'm going to cut the rabble out. So it's going to go from the end of Papers, Please, and then we're just going to...
Go straight in.
Yeah,
with a little transition music. Can
we
have the Batman transition music? They're like...
Yeah, oh, we could do that.